Hey people, I picked up on something new in the Torah the other day. In the first three words, it says it's the book of Ramiel. And so Ramiel's a fallen angel. So Ramiel spoke English, but he wrote in a Hebrew writing style. Hebrew, not a language, it's a writing style. And I know it's going to be shocking to you if you haven't seen me before. I'm going to prove it to you here in this short video. And I have so much information on this chapter. I'm going to make several short videos. And so I'm going to put them all in a folder together so I can point everybody to the first one. And I'm just going to show you this, how this punctuation works. And this one time so you have it on the rest of it. I can direct you back here. But if somebody says all that ba and haken, they can't read this. They memorize it. They don't know how. If somebody says the before they say hashamim, they don't know how to read this because the ha is the the. This means the shamim, and it's not even m. It's the shamis. So this b is in, and you don't read it by recit. You read it in receipt. N-R-A-S-I-T. In receipt. And so receipt's got several meanings. It's what's stuck back in the cracks. It's in the cushion between the cushions and in the receipt. It's what you get in return for something. But it's a receipt you get from the store. Back in the day, you would pull in the port and you would unload your boat. They would count everything up and they would give you a receipt. And you would exchange that when you got ready to leave. If you had any left on that receipt, you would use that receipt through the town to go drinking and partying. And then you would load up whatever goods they had. And you could buy however money you had receipt left for. But receipt was also the word on my French grandmother's cookbook, my great grandmother's cookbook, and it said the receipt, and it's our word for recipe. And in Galatian, it's the receipts. In French, it's the receipts. In Finnish, it's the receptaja, the receipt. In a Scottish Gaelic, it's the received, the receipt. In Swedish, it's receipt, the recipes. So in the same fashion, this is just read, the B is read in receipt. Again, it's in ra. And this next word reads backwards. M-Y-E-L-A. In Ramiel. In the recipes in Ramiel. To the shamis, what hears. And so I don't remember, it was many years ago that I read in an alchemy book that they would write the gods' names backwards. And that's the note. When you see that A, that's the God letter. Read that next word backwards. Don't matter what word it is. This A-T is read T-A, to. Mael. So this is in Ramiel. The Jews, the rabbis, they memorize the Torah. They can't read it. They memorize everything in it. If you give them something new, they're lost. And if you watch me enough, I've proved it many times that there's too many different words. I'm going to do it again. But you can see they don't even know what the punctuation means. And this is wiki right here. Like much biblical punctuation, the meaning of the pasek is not known. They don't know what this line means. And down here to this hyphen, they say they know what it means, but it doesn't. As we read, we'll see that it changes up between words, and it means to read the next word backwards and forwards. all handy, all hands handy, O-L, all yadi, all yad yadi, all hand handy. So if you check out names of angels, you'll see it here in this sworn book of honors. You're going to see a lot of them end with EL, the majority, and then a lot even with IEL, and then there's many that end with MIEL or MYEL. They only had one letter for Y, J, and I in Hebrew, and so it switched up. But that's MYEL. You see it here in the Samael, the MYEL, the Gabriel, IEL, IL, and even the MIEL, the Mile, and the Satquiel. What you see here is the Mile, is the MYEL. And these are other names that has been accused of. So this is what a MYEL is. It's ancient word, still used today by doctors. This means the back, or in the receipt of the myel is where your marrow, your spinal cord goes. The myelo, the bone marrow, the spinal cord, the sheath. But sometimes it just means the back. Watch my back, watch my myel. And so this would be your myel, is your 7 chakras. And so there was ancient people that did know how to read the Bible, and they called them the Gnostics. The Gnostic. When you read this Greek, you take these first 2 letters off this last end and put them on the front and read them as the Gnostic. Don't even try to read those last 2 letters. They go on the front. If it's the first word, and it might be the last 2 letters of the last word, but as Gnostic. Having knowledge. These were the people that actually knew how to read the book. And they were Christians and Jews. Were all Gnostics. And their God was knowledge. I'm a non-believer, but my God is knowledge, so I guess I would call myself a Gnostic too. And so this was their God. This is Myel. And this is the cat. When you say the cat's out the bag, that's what it means. And I'm fixing to let the cat out the bag. This is the same God, every religion other than Islam. Islam knows what's up, and they call it the devil. But that's the same God in all religions. And you can see this figure is also called Yaldabaoth or Samuel, or Aramaic Samiel, the blind God. And so you see all the writings, you see how long this is. They have been trying to cover. You don't want to read this. It's all bad information. If you know what you're looking at, you can pull some good information out of it. But they have been trying to hide this information for thousands of years. It's huge. It's the demiurge. They're trying to make it as evil as possible, but that's the God in most every religion. That's the arch. If you was reading this Greek, you'd read it on arch. In the Greek, that CH would be replaced by an X. When they turned it into Latin, they made it CH. Jesus was Gnostic. John the Baptist was Gnostic. Seth, the 3rd son of Adam and Eve. Everybody that was knowledgeable knew this. And so the difference in Islam, that and the monad, it means we're all one. And this is the symbol for R in ancient Greek, and in really ancient Greek, and in Egypt and other places. And you'll see this on ancient money. It's the R for drachma. But they want to think that there is one God up there somewhere, and not that we are all the one. So this is huge. They've been trying to disinfo this for a long time. But these old Gnostics, they was the writers of abracadabra, and they understood what all that means. And I got some of that. I'll get into that later. I'm going to try to get through this chapter. This is your Ramiel here, and it's connecting to your 7 chakras, to your 7 churches, to your 7 planets. So Google Phoenician letter meaning chart, and they all had the same meaning. There was pictures before, and you could see it was a life and a foot, and a house means in, and this was supposed to be a door. It means through or the way. And this is the old R was the head. It says R, Greek R. And the iron meant to see. And the pay is an open eye, and it's open. It represents the mouth or the face, or open. But it wasn't Hebrew. Hebrew is an alchemical writing style with the twist in there, so not everybody could read it. It's the punctuation. And there's one more secret, one of the latest ones that I've learned that really helped to open his language up. And I noticed it in all these final letters. You know, they all have a number to them. And when the numbers get bigger, they'll drop the tail on this X. Tazadi, T-S, T-Z, there's an X, and they just drop the tail off. And this pay, the P, they just drop the tail down. And this none, same none, except they just drop the tail down. But I noticed on this final M, nothing about it looks like this M. It looks a whole lot more like the S, with a little shift on the tail. And when a word ends with M, they say it means plural, and that got me thinking that maybe it's an M in one direction, but it's a S in the other direction. And so the words are read in both directions due to the punctuation. So this Ramiel, this is the writer of the Torah, and he's got nothing. That's it. He's got nothing. They're trying to make you forget all about Ramiel, Archangel Ramiel, because he was a fallen watcher. And they'll mix up the spelling, R-E-M-I-E-L. Sometimes it's R-A. And I think that R-E means when there's no letter after the R. I think it's just R-M-I-E-L. And we'll see it both ways in the first chapter. And in the book of Enoch, in the book of the Watchers, and although prevalent in Jewish and early Christian, it was later banned and called an unknown work. So some traditions claim that Romeo is actually Jeremiel or Uriel, while others claim that he's no longer an angel at all. And the reason for these changes is because you read it in those magic books, how they change every 360 years or so. So some say his name means thunder god or mercy of God. As a watcher, the same as a fallen angel, in this case refers to the war between God and Lucifer, where many angels chose to fight against God to aid Lucifer in his fight for power. This is where we first find mention of Ramiel, and his story doesn't begin on the side of God, but rather on the side of Lucifer. So he was never even heard of, but we've been fooled is what Lucifer means. You know, Lucifer is the light bringer. Ramiel wanted to bring light on a shady situation. So he's now described as the archangel of hope. It means they lost the war. It means the darkness stayed, and you can just hope for the light to come in the future. The role of the seraphim can be a little bizarre. They're described as circling the throne of God and repeating the words, holy, 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 over and over. Holy, holy, as in all one. No, all one. So it looked like there's a little rebellion going on. So somewhere I had read that Ramiel was in charge of giving the other angels their duties. I can't seem to find that again. But in receipt, you know, you used to get your receipts in a mud pack, and the writings were receipted down into it, not raised up out. In Ramiel, to the Shamis, to the Shamis, what hears, EARX, and this could be hearts, HARTX, HARTS. The X is the X or the TS, or the arts, ARX, ARTS. And so back then, arts didn't mean what it does today. I guess it still does. If you Google arts, you're going to see books on magic. You're going to see books on alchemy. You're going to see the Sun Tzu's Art of War. Cooking was an art. Making drugs was an art. Magic, the black arts, is what it's talking about when it says arts. So this is the one they call Elohim that they're reading backwards, is Mael, the backbone. And if you read it the other way, the A being the O, oleum, that's your old spelling for oil, O-L-E-I-S, oils. And it's the backbone, the back marrow oils. So you see this word they give God, Elohim. It has many different spellings. And sometimes it ends with a K. Sometimes it ends with a U to fit the others in. But it has many different spellings. But if you look at this Elohim, see, now it doesn't have the M there, and so now you can fit a different God's name in there. It's just the I-E-L. And so all those other God's names will fit. But you notice they give it the mean God here. I am the God. And then they slip up one time here and they let you know it means angels. They couldn't fit God in there because they give this word God too. The loop, to bind to God. And so they just call this L. But you see, this L means God too. They're all going to end with an L somehow. And so from here you'll see another list of words that all mean God. And there's at least 200 different words. And so every time it says God in the Bible, that's not what it actually says. It's naming all the different angels. And angels aren't what you think either. So the word for angel in the Greek doesn't have an N in it. It's just the agile, A-G-G-L-E, it's the agile. It's the same word they use for messenger. And you use the young guy, the young agile guy to do your messaging in war. The communication is key. You got to have fast communication. You use the young agile guy that can run and move. He's not so much a fighter, but he sure can move. And then you see here in the Hebrew, it's M-L-A-K-Y. From a lackey, from lackey. So a lackey is the flunky, he's but it'll say other places, you take an order from my lackey. And every time it says messenger, it'll be the same word. Angels and messengers are the same words. And you see it here in the Greek, A-G-G-E-L. And it's just agile. Take these first two letters and put it on the front. Who, O-I. It starts with an O, you give it an H. Who, agile. Who's agile? Who can move fast? Is the messenger, is the angels. And so watchers and angels aren't the same thing. So this is the word watcher here. It's spelled W-A Chet. Chet is C-H. W-A-C-H-R-I-T-E. The watcherite. And so these are all coming up in Proverbs here. And one in Amos. But that watcherite is where your word charity come from. C-H-R-I-T-E. Charity. The watcher. He's writing tickets. That was the police, the watcherite. And so it was called charity. That's where your word charity come from. It was the church. The same old church way back then that was collecting taxes. And they made as many laws as they could so they could bust you every chance they could. And so this is a comedy. It's got hidden information there, but it's the watcherite. He's the police writing a ticket. More, M-R-E, more. More cologne, K-L-O-N-E. More cologne had to give her in P-U, P-I-U-T. Well, I've heard that all my life, P-U. And he wrote her a ticket, and that's what they're doing. They're making fun of her. So here's the watcher, and it's and. When you get to the and, you're at the watcher. But you look up here, and we see a L-Q-I-N-E of fine. Of the fine is the Lamentations. Go to the book of Lamentations, and they're either 22 or 66 in each book. I think it's 5 books. And it gives a list of fines. They're all numbered. It says I-S is D-R-K is dark. Is dark. Is first of place. It just got dark. And the man answers C. Reads backwards and forwards with this tack here. C. Yes. Is the watcher right? The dark make. Reads back and forth. To. T-U. To moot. To kill. To shut it up. Are you going to... Is the watch right? The dark to make to moot? This is null. N-H-L-E. Null. To cancel out. Null. From belt. B-H-L-T. And both of these words don't fit. What it is there's a number value they had to change, but this is B-E-L-T. And this is an 8, and this is a 5. But the H and the E both the same thing. But they had to change the number value. And usually they do it with a yod and a vav. But they do it wherever they have to make the words work. but it's null from belt in raising. Just remember at the beginning, so the B means in, not at. That would be the same word. The beginning would be receipt, but no, this is raising. Null, don't raise the belt. The watcher write law to break, TBRK. The watcher write law to break. And so you can see this is the right, all right, and this the watcher write, the watcher writ in past tense, the watcher write. These are 6 we just looked at. The watcher write from. So this is getting long. I'm going to tell you this little story here. What happened was the watchers, they come from the Roman army, and they were invading and taxing everybody. They were going to places they had no business and taxing everybody. They were kind of like America. They were wanting to run the whole world, and they were really abusive. And the story they talk about raping and killing and beating people down and putting them in a bind, and the Pope abusing the children, the little boys, and the same thing goes on today. You know, it was all it's all in here. And so the Shamis, they slipped Ramiel some ayahuasca. You see, the word for Shamis backwards is mimose, M-I-M-S-E. It's an M when it reads this way, and it's an S this way. The mimosa, if you read it backwards. And so they slipped Ramiel some ayahuasca, and that's what I call a love drug. I did it about, I don't know, 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, maybe 4, and it takes a long time to wear off, and it really changes your attitude. You throw up all the demons, and you're a total different person afterwards. And they tricked him. I think it says later on down here that he learned not to share drink with the Shamis. I'm sure that they had a plan, and they were fighting. There was a lot of them on him, and a Shami come and helped him, and after that he acted like he was thirsty, and so he gave the Shami a drink, and the Shami slipped him some mushroom in there, slipped him some DMT in there, and after he seen God, he came back and he wrote the book of how to avoid, this the book of war, and it's for the Shamis against the Roman army. And he told all their tricks and how to avoid them. And so the Pope had banned the book. That's why you find this book buried everywhere. You never find it up in the library. They always find ancient copies buried in caves and stuff. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here, and I'm going to come back in a part 2, and a part 3, and a part 4. It might take a while to go through this. Alright, good day.